thing you know, a role player ends up getting 20 on you and you get beat anyway. So, our philosophy is to try to play them more head up. We will give help, but let's not let the other guys, beat us. Let's make sure that, if he gets 40, the other people, they don't get their 10 or whatever they normally get.
When he got that rebound, started dribbling up the court, you're like, okay, this is Jamie Bosley. He averages 26 points a game. Something bad's going to happen to us. I mean, you don't have that good feeling. I imagine 9 times out of 10 he'd make that shot and just fell short.
The timeline. Jamie Bosley against 3 players. Bosley, a one-handed shot, no, and the game is over. And the Zanesville Blue Devils have defeated the Jackson Polar Bears 45-43.
One of the things that, late in the game, with free throw situations, you have to be able to make free throws in close games, and we missed some opportunities that could have sealed some games up. But the thing that we were able to do is it always seemed like we were able to make a defensive play at the right time. And I really believe it goes back to from year one. We've always talked to our kids about defense and rebounding wins games, and we've always talked to them about late in the game, we would assume play defense and go down playing D, then we would have the basketball and have to go down and score. And, early in my career here, we went down, we played D, and we lost a lot of times. But I really think it's developed into, as kids have developed physical strength and conditioning through the off-season programs, I really think that they believe that now defensively we're very good, and it's very difficult for people to score on us. So as Bosley advanced the basketball down the floor, Edwin Young was in great defensive position, and I think he was in a position to contest his shot. And I still think if you watch the tape, you'll see that he pushed off with his left hand. I think that was just enough for him to lose his balance and for him not to be able to get his feet square, which we talk to our kids about is really a big key in shooting. Once you get your stroke down, you got to be able to get your feet in a position to score. So, that of him making that little push off and kind of losing his balance right there, he came up short. Had he not, I think he probably would have been able to knock that shot down, because usually, he consistently does that. But the officials did a great job of making a no call at the end of that game, too.
Little respect was given to Zanesville after this victory, saying now they can't play an up-tempo game. This style of play was just fine for the Blue Devils. Thank you very much. All 5 starters not only scored in double figures, but shot over 50% from the floor.
We definitely believe that you have to play different tempos, and sometimes as we approached the Massillon-Jackson game, the people who tried to up-tempo them generally had gotten beat and got beat pretty soundly. So we thought going into that game, our best philosophy was to try to play with them half court and kind of bang it out with them. And I think we obviously were able to win that because we were able to play pretty mistake-free basketball. Approaching Warren Harding, their tempo was very up-tempo. They're a pressure defensive team. So again, our philosophy might be a little different than some other people's, but when people pressure us, we try to take advantage of pressure and score. And if there are opportunities to get layups, we'll take them. If we have standstill threes, we take them, but we try to eliminate any kind of dribble jump shots and, that kind of that 15-foot range of contested shots. And, a lot of people going into that game in the Canton area, one, they thought we had no chance competing against Massillon-Jackson. And then, the philosophy was, or the thinking was that, against Warren Harding, they're just going to get blown out because now they can't go up and down the floor. And I think what we proved was that we could play at that tempo too, and we took advantage of the mistakes they made out of their traps, and we got some easy scores, and we were able to open that up for a big win.
Something the coach Aaron Hall told us is that if you want to be a championship team, you have to be able to play different styles. And so from like our first practice, he worked on us playing different styles. He'd have us in practice like really playing our offense and slowing it down. Then he'd also have us running it. And so it was kind of good that in those practices we were working on that, so when we got in the game situation, we knew exactly what to do.
The last 2 minutes of the game will be remembered by coaches, players, and fans, as there was no doubt about the outcome of this game and who was heading for St. John Arena.
That was really fun at the end because really the score at the end of the game had no indication of the game because it was close until that last minute and a half or so. And they just, I mean, they just kind of gave up actually at the end. I mean, they were just standing there, and of course, when you're in the regional final, you want to send a message to the state, so we're going to keep scoring. So we wanted to keep scoring and kind of send a message. I mean, winning a regional final game by 18 is pretty impressive. And I just remember, like, the very last play of the game, I'm running down the left sideline, and that's where our benches are. And I run down to the corner, and Coach Ehrenhall's standing there, and he's still coaching us with like 20 seconds to go. And I kind of pushed him and said, "Come on, Coach, we're going to win this one." And he just, at that point, I saw him put a big smile on his face, and it was a celebration from there on out. And I think Seth threw a pass to Edwin right under the basket, and he made it, and we just all ran back down the court with our arms in the air, and then the buzzer went off, and that was just a great celebration.
We were ready to play a little up-tempo game because a lot of our players, that's when they play their best, and we knew to be a state championship team that you have to play both half-court and full-court offenses. Wild, because that's all everyone's been talking about since everyone got up here. We're going to get a state. And then with 2 minutes left in the game, we were up by about 15. And it was like, wow, we really are. It was hard to believe.
Good job of passing, and Edwin did a nice job of distributing the ball throughout. Did a nice job of balancing our scoring. It's really a key dream come true. We'd spend time on Westview Elementary School playground shooting around saying state championship. We're state championship layups and all this stuff, and then we go to the state, and it's like, wow. It was just yesterday when we were out on the playground shooting around talking about it.
I believe it was noon that they gave up. They didn't even start fouling with like maybe 6 points in the margin. I thought they would, but we kept moving the ball, and I thought Seth was going to have a dunk there at the end. To tell you the truth, I wish he would have, because that would have put a real cap on it. I'm not one for rubbing it in, but that sure would have been a whole lot of fun.
From Zanesville, Ohio. You played 2 outstanding basketball games, and you played a convincing championship game here tonight. To present this moment to you, your basketball team, your school, and your community, and we wish you the very best in Columbus next week.
Nobody would have expected more motion during the week of the state tournament. At the start of the week, the preparation was set. Coaches and players knew what needed to be done. But the unexpected would jump to the forefront, refocusing the community and giving the team even more of a reason to become the state champs. Wendy Winland, the founder of the Zanesville Athletic Boosters and the soul of Zanesville High School athletics, died shortly after a Tuesday evening pep rally at the high school.
It was a tough week emotionally because you go from such a high to such a low, but that's life, and you have to deal with it and move on.
When he died, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was so sad. I was really disappointed because he had waited a long time to see these games at St. John's Marine, and I just wish he actually could have been there. I know he was there, but I wish he just could have been there.
It was definitely a roller coaster. You start out the week with excitement, and then all of a sudden that big letdown, disappointment. You're sad, and I mean, you just wonder. It's one of those why feelings. You just wonder why it had to happen then. I mean, it just wasn't. I mean, that's a feeling you don't want to wish on anyone. Then all of a sudden, we had to put that past us because we had a game to play, and then all of a sudden nerves kick in and getting nervous and still excited and really wanting to play, and then it was definitely a roller coaster of feelings.
Zanesville was now in the position they wanted to be in. They now had the opportunity to meet the team that finished their season 1 year ago. But with a different season comes different results. Westerville North jumped out to a quick lead. Coach Aaron Halt and the troops kept their composure and chipped away.
And again, a lot of people have said, why didn't you call timeout early? And for me, I've got great confidence in my point guard, and Edwin Young does an excellent job for us. Maybe a different point guard for me, at some other time that I've been here, or maybe in the future, it might be a different situation. But at that point, I checked with Edwin. He didn't feel we needed a timeout, and so I didn't think we needed a timeout. But then, when the score went 16-4 or whatever, he definitely felt at that point we needed a timeout. And really, when you go back and look at that tape, we missed so many easy shots in the beginning that we just kind of buried ourselves in the hole. And it wasn't a thing when we took the timeout that we needed to correct a lot. We were getting shots. We were playing some pretty good defense, but when you miss so many early shots, it's difficult to be in the game.
Execution was the name of the game with an important shot attempt at each buzzer. The Blue Devils converted on the first three and stood their ground in the fourth.
Yeah, well, once again, it was a missed free throw at our end, going down to a possible game-winning shot at the other end. And I noticed, I was watching Stone run down the floor because I was guarding him. And when they got the rebound, he was kind of waving to him to come to his side. So I'm like, uh-oh, they're going to his side. And I didn't want to be the GOAT. I wanted to be the winner. And so, and like we had done all year, Coach taught us to take the offensive player to the baseline. So when he got the ball, I just wanted to force him to the baseline. And it just so happened I got to force him enough that I got him stuck under the backboard. He couldn't get a good shot off. And then another player got just kind of picked up the ball and threw it up, and I was right underneath the basket and just went short, and celebration began.
Zanesville executed perfectly at the end of the first three quarters, scoring the last points before the buzzer. The biggest was an impeccable example of teamwork. This game will go down to the final shot, and Zanesville held their ground. The celebration would be short-lived because in 24 hours, the Blue Devils would put it on the line for all the marbles. Again, Zanesville would need to change tempo to be successful. And again, the Blue Devils would get down early and chip away at the lead.
Well, again, it was a situation we got down early, and I thought we had some easy shots, and we weren't able to knock them down. But, again, the thing that this team was able to do is they played at the tempo that we needed to play at. And we could have gotten a situation where we were running out of control up and down with them at that point and firing some crazy shots and really could have gotten buried. But the thing our kids did do, they ran our press offense very well. We stayed with what we were doing, and I thought we just relaxed a little bit and say, hey, we deserve to be here too. And we hit some big shots, and especially Slade knocked down some threes during that stretch that we were down that put us back into the game, and we were able to come back and take the lead. And it just seemed like from that point on, we were very confident that we could not only compete, but we could win.
At halftime, Zanesville blew out the locker room with a 15-0 run.
great decisions in our press offense of where to move the basketball, and we were able to find Slade standing on the backside, or we got it down inside to David Houston and set some and got easy scores. And then Edwin, rather than getting the basketball and making penetration at first against the press, we moved it a couple passes and then got it back, and he made some nice drives and was able to finish that really led to our big lead.
And so we came out, and once we scored like the first 3 baskets, and we're holding them real well, and they kind of get back on their heels, and we just kept coming after them, and that was just, I mean, that was a great run.
This scoring outburst was important due to Mr. Basketball's 20-point fourth-quarter explosion. In overtime, Zanesville scored the winning point on a banked-in free throw by Seth Martin. Again, Zanesville would take a defensive stand to end the game. Let the celebration begin.
We are Zanesville, number 1. We are Zanesville, number 1. We are Zanesville, number 1.
Did what everyone dreams of doing and what we set out to do, yet it really didn't hit home that we finally did it. You know, it was fun, we celebrated, but it wasn't like, hey, we're state champs now. It was kind of weird.
We had a great time on the way home, singing and having a great time, so it was a really nice time.
This 20 years ago, I don't think it could be any sweeter than this. What a basketball game. Congratulations, guys. I'm not going to hold you up anymore. Champion 1995 Division 1.
It was just a very exciting time for us, and especially it was kind of an emotional relief because when you go all the way to the state tournament, all the emotion built into that in the practices, and you're kind of worn, and especially emotionally, you're definitely drained. And that relief of being able to go in there and win the thing, I mean, it's just kind of overwhelming. And you're so excited, but at the same time, you're so relaxed because it's all over with. And coming to the Muskingum County line, the Sheriff's Department meeting is there, and then to the city line, and the police escorting it in, and then for us pulling into the high school and just being overwhelmed with all the people. It's just, I mean, you almost start thinking sometimes like you're godlike, I mean, you get caught up in this thing and thinking that you're invincible or something, but, more importantly, I think for our kid, not only for our kids to be able to win that, I mean, they can look back and feel very good about themselves as far as all the work we put in. I think that their family, I mean, it's a great moment to watch a kid who's worked very hard in the program, and then to watch him kind of almost like a bonding with his family over basketball. And maybe that's one time in their life that this gave them an opportunity to be closer than what they normally would be. But it definitely gave our community the opportunity to be very close when we were able to win that thing, because it pulled a lot of diverse people together.
The party continued for days following the championship. First stop was the citywide parade.
I thought the parade was great. I loved it. We went all the way down Maple Avenue, and it pretty much wasn't an inch of untouched ground along the right side of Maple Avenue. And then as the Dare came along and Blue Avenue, there was just more and more people. I just couldn't believe it. And they were throwing roses at us, and I was like, whoa, we deserve roses? Yeah, I couldn't believe that. And we came up, and the whole high school lawn was covered with people, and I couldn't believe it. And then we went down to the track, and there were more people there than there are some football games. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. And we did a nice ceremony down there and dedicated it to Wendy. And that parade is just great. I'm glad it was going on.
I thought it was real neat that they had the parade planned win or lose. I mean, whether we were to win the game or lose the game, I felt that the community was going to be there to support us either way. I mean, if you get that far, I mean, you've done a lot for the community. And just that, I mean, that whole day was just, we just felt like kings. I mean, especially going up Blue Avenue, you see all those people, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands, a couple thousand, just lined along Blue Avenue in their blue and white and just throwing roses at us. And I mean, we felt it was just king for a day, I guess was what it would be.
It really sunk in during the parade when we're driving down Maple and there's people stopping and honking, and then you turn up Blue and there's just thousands of people. You get chills up and down your spine, and it really hit home then. It's unbelievable because there were thousands of people there, and they were there just to see us, and it was great to bring the community together like that.
The next day we didn't go to bed till about 4 o'clock that morning, so we woke up and we were kind of tired. And come up to the parade and see all these people out on Maple. You've never seen anybody before like that. And you turn down on Blue Avenue and there's hundreds of people, and it's just weird. They're all there to see you and see the coaches and the team.
One of the things that we always like to stress in our program is being very positive, and I think that was probably the greatest thing about the parade, is that everything was positive and everything that was said was positive, and people were in such a great mood, and would have been a great time for the school system to put on a levy, and probably be able to pass hands down. But I just thought it was a great ending. I thought our administration, really Wendy was the one in charge of that, of trying to get the parade and the celebration at the end, no matter what, win or lose, together. And I don't think you could ask for a better ending for for a great basketball team to win the state championship and come home, have that tremendous parade, which still I think about that, it's one of the most awesome things I've seen in my life. Even winning a national championship, number one, we were out of town, so when we flew back in, we were greeted at the airport, but nothing like the parade that we had, and then be able to go to the stadium and really honor our kids and honor the fans at the same time was something that I'm glad I have it on video versus, when I was back in college and video wasn't that popular, because it's something I'll be able to look back on and reflect on for the rest of my life.
thank you. First of all, on behalf of the team, I'd like to thank the coaching staff, because without them, I don't know if we'd be standing here today or sitting here. Not only do they teach us basketball, but they teach us lessons in life. And not only will we have memories of basketball, but we'll have many lessons to carry out to our own kids. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of the team. Also on behalf of the team, I'd like to thank Dave Bell. For the past month, he's been in a real hot seat and tough situation. But I think he's handled it really well, and he's just been a great athletic director lately. I'm just joking with you, though. And personally, I think this would be the best time since we kind of all got to do. This would be the best time for me to thank everyone for the support you guys gave me halfway through the season. It was a real tough time and hard time for me. All the support you guys gave me, it really helped a lot, and it gave me motivation to get back. And when I got back, I told the guys that I didn't want to come back to just one game. I wanted to make a run for the tournament. And I'd like to thank the team because we made a run. I think we made a good run. You gotta sing with us, okay? Dear old day.